Welcome back to Sustainable Energy. Today we're looking at solutions to make agriculture greener. According to the UN, almost 3 billion people have limited access to modern energy services for heating and cooking. Half of them have little or no access to electricity. Let's take a look at how one man is helping people access power by showing them how they can produce their own energy using home and farm waste.
In Uganda, 90% of our population are farmers, and many of the farmers are growing crops. The crops are used for food, and the waste that the farmers generate, we use it to make energy. My name is Janet Mwesige, an environmental scientist. I graduated with a PhD in environmental sustainability from the University of Aberdeen. I returned to Uganda and founded a company, Hit Uganda Limited, that focuses on generating energy from waste. The most dangerous pollution generated by agriculture in Uganda is waste from the dairy farmers. The dung generates methane, which methane is 4 times more dangerous than CO2. The second process follows the mixing. We put the material in the mixer. In the mixing machine, we add the binder. After 2 minutes of mixing, the material is brought here and it's put in this machine. This is the briquette press. So the mixed material is pressed together and we make a briquette like this, which has to be dried. This is the drying bed. After 4 days, we package the briquettes and we take them to the capital, Kampala, and we also distribute them to places around the factory. This place uses our briquettes to cook food for a number of people around this area. I've known Najima for a number of years. Initially, she was using charcoal as a cooking fuel for her restaurant, but as we started making briquettes at our facility, we introduced briquettes to her. She's been using them as a cooking fuel for her business. Uganda has a population of 40 million people. There is more demand for energy, for cooking, transport, running the industries. We feel we need to have alternative fuels to support the growing population.
Here we have 2 cows and the 2 calves. So from there, that's where we get some of the gas.
We'll take in the animal manure from the cow, and the manure is mixed with urine. We mix it with water, and we put it in a biogas system, which is at the back of the farm. Basically, here we are standing on a biogas system. It's a large piece of infrastructure that was built in the ground. And when waste comes from the mixing point, it flows to a digester. And after a couple of days, gas is generated. Gas goes through a gas meter and it flows to the kitchen. After the process of digestion, we get manure, which is sprayed here. This manure is used for crop production. And instead of buying artificial fertilizer, this can be a substitute for the manure that is required in the fields.
Instead of collecting raw firewood, you look for grass to make a fire and whatever, it takes long. But here I just get a matchbox, I light, and then I start cooking. It is very, 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 very efficient. It is economical because the money we would have used to buy firewood, we use it for another thing.
As a child, you're growing up, you're seeing problems, but you don't know how to solve them. But as you grow up, you learn that certain problems can be managed better. Coming back to this facility makes me proud. Each time I see the waste being used to make biogas, it gives me a lot of strength and keeps me motivated to keep working more on these projects.
An interesting story, but perhaps not easy to develop on a large scale. Could we all be producing our own energy?
If you have the feedstock to do it, if you have the sun, if you have the biomass, yes, you can do it. This example is a great example. In fact, at FAO, we've worked a lot on what we call integrated food energy systems, which is exactly what this gentleman is doing. He's producing both food and energy on his farm. If you want to replicate, multiply this example, it's great to have a champion. He may be followed by a couple of people, but you need policy support, you need incentives, you need credits to help the people who want to do that. But also, if I move now to an example where you had this done on a massive scale, which is China, where they produced 40 million biogas household systems. They are now moving a bit away from that because they realize that farmers, they do farming well. They may not be doing energy well, so you ask them maybe them too much. In general, they are moving away to more village level energy producing systems where the farmers supply the waste, for example, like in this case, but then the specialized energy company produces the energy and then sells the energy to the farmer. So it's a division of labor. You leave to everybody what they do best.
How would all that fit in the green revolution that the FAO has called for?
Yeah, the FAO is actually called for a second green revolution, because the first one was basically improving yields. And what we mean by that basically is that, yeah, let's keep doing that, but in a more social and environmental friendly way. So energy, but in general, greening food chains fits perfectly into that, because you are more resource efficient, you are more environmental friendly, but you still produce food. The challenge is to do that in an affordable way.
Olivier, you're optimistic about the future?
In the long term, yes, but there's a lot to do.
Olivier Dubois, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity to be with you today.
It appears the will to build a more sustainable agriculture sector is growing, with scientists and researchers looking for solutions and building partnerships with businesses. Will consumers around the world embrace the green revolution too? We'll have to wait and see. Changing minds could be the biggest challenge. Well, that's it for this edition of Sustainable Energy. If you'd like to comment on this program or our theme this year, nature-based solutions, then do get in touch on Twitter at CNBC Energy. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, goodbye.